Hello, everyone. I'm going to tell you a little story. Go Get a Coke by Sugerface Cheesymelt. This is one of my stories that I wrote. A man named Ricardo, 27 years old, working night shifts as a security guard at a factory. Now, Ricardo was a grandma's boy. Visited, he went to go see his grandma every summer. He spent the entire summer from from getting out of school that first weekend in May. He and his parents would travel all the way to Brazil, and they would stay until basically school started. He would stay every year. He basically stayed almost 3.5 months with his grandma. And what his grandma liked to do for a special treat every Sunday after church, she would give him a glass bottle Coke if he was well behaved. And they would sit on the porch together drinking a glass bottle Coke. So Ricardo grew up loving his grandmother, sitting on the porch, hearing her stories, talking about the old days of living in Brazil and all that stuff. Ricardo, so when Ricardo was 24 years old, he noticed that his grandma wasn't doing well. He's 24. It was like, so it was like the last summer. So when he came back, and over Thanksgiving, his grandma passed away. 24 years old. But she was old though. She had kids early. When she was 17, she had her first child. When she was by almost 30 years old, she already had like 7 kids. So she had a good life. She died at the age of 81. So she was getting up there. Because Ricardo, he's the only born, and Ricardo's mom is the last born. So you know, timing sometimes doesn't work out. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Ricardo, his grandma died when he was 24. So years pass. He gets a job at a factory working third shift. Sometimes he thinks about the glass bottle cokes he shared with his grandma and talking to her every Sunday for like 4 hours sitting on the porch, watching the sun go down. He missed those days. He loved his grandma. Oh, he was a big grandma's boy. Any chance he got to talk to his grandma on the phone, he did it. Even when he celebrated his 21st birthday and called her drunk. He called her drunk. Yeah, so Ricardo was a big ass grandma's boy. He loved her so much. He loved spending every summer with her. And when she passed away, he was sad. He was depressed. But you got to move on. It's hard to move on. You'll still have that pain of that person who you lost in the back of your brain at all times. And it's okay to think about them sometimes. But it just takes one step at a time to move on from someone's death. You never truly get over it. It's always there, no matter what. You always think about it. So Ricardo, he did his best, and pitted that back his brain. He moved on a little bit. Now he's working late night at a factory. Third shift. He works from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning. So, but this night was weird. So he goes out the door. He says goodbye to his fiance. Also, Ricardo's married. He says goodbye to his fiance and he goes to work. He gets there. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. He likes to go early. And so he spends the whole hour, waiting till 11. Because these are weird type of jobs. They say 11 o'clock, but they really mean 10. So he goes in. And, so he goes in, he starts setting things up and making sure the security cameras are working. He walks around their perimeter, makes sure everything is all good. And when he gets back to his desk, it's 11 o'clock, so he clocks in. He sits at the desk, he's looking at all the cameras, making sure there's no burglars, no nonsense people coming around. And then a couple hours pass, his manager comes in. It's about to be 2 o'clock in the morning. That's not really a couple hours, is it? So it's about to be 2 o'clock in the morning. His manager comes in and says, "Hey, we're gonna have an inspection. They're gonna be coming in and replacing a whole bunch of things. See the place that he's the security for does a lot of work with the government, and civilians are not allowed to be there apparently or something." He didn't question it. He was like, "Shit, I can go home early." They're like, "Yeah, you can go home early. There's gonna be military people here looking over everything. You'll be fine. You can go home." He's like, "Okay." So he tells his boss, "Well," he's like, "You don't have to tell me twice. I'm going home. I'm going to bed." So Ricardo, he leaves. He leaves the weird factory, the factory that he works at. He gets paid good money. Ricardo, he gets paid good money. He makes $20 an hour. Just he gets paid good. He lives in a nice house, nice little neighborhood. Now this neighborhood, before I get to that part, so Ricardo's driving home. He stops at a stop sign. His place. So there's. If he goes straight, if he turns and goes down to his place, there's a long stretch of road that is just surrounded by trees, and it's very dark, and it takes like almost 10 minutes to drive through the whole thing. Maybe not 10 minutes, but 15 minutes. Maybe 15 minutes to drive that long stretch of road back to his place, back to the neighborhood he lives in. There's a long stretch of road covered by trees. It's very dark. Takes 15 minutes. If he goes straight and he takes a long way back to his house where it's all lit up, and it's going to take 20 minutes to get back to his house. If he takes a shortcut, no, it's going to take 30 minutes to get back to it. If he takes a shortcut, he knocks off 10 minutes, basically. So before he turns down the dark stretch of road, he hears a little voice in his head. It's his grandma's voice. His grandma says, "Go get a Coke." He's like, "What the hell is that?" He heard his grandma say, "Go get a Coke." He has not heard his grandma's voice in a long time. That scared him. He's like, okay. So he was about to turn. He was about to turn into the long stretch of dark road. And then he heard it again very loudly. "Go get a Coke." And he was like, you know what? I'm losing my mind. I'm just going to go get a Coke. He listened to his grandma. He's like, I'm not going to disagree. Even though my grandma's dead, I'm not going to disagree with her. So he goes down the other way. He goes straight. Instead of turning, he goes straight. And there's a little store right there. He goes in. They have glass bottle Cokes. They have glass bottle Cokes. So he gets a glass bottle Coke. He's not even sleepy because he's so used to working third shift that he's wide awake. So he gets a glass bottle Coke and he starts talking to the cashier. They start talking and stuff, and so he ended up talking to this cashier for almost an hour. Well, not even an hour. I think he talked to the cashier for like almost 2 hours about damn movies, games, because GTA 5 was just coming out, and he said he can't wait to play it. And he already pre-ordered everything, and he's getting it, and the cashiers talked to him about everything. Then they're talking about movies. She said the cashier said her job is boring because her third shift, there's like only 7 people come in. I don't know why the owner has this place open. Ricardo said, yeah, I work at that factory down the street. I had a security guard. I got off early. So he says goodbye to the cashier. They had a good conversation. And he decided to go try the dirt road again. The long stretch of dirt road. I mean, not dirt road, but the long stretch of road is surrounded by trees. Very dark, very spooky. Scary shit can happen. So he goes back, He also picked up another glass bottle of Coke for his wife, because she likes him too. And he's driving down, and then he stops because there's nothing but cops all around there. And he sees a car in a ditch on the side of the road, and he sees people in handcuffs. And the cop comes up to him and says, sir, you're going to have to turn around and go the other way, or, you can't go down this way. And he asks her, what the hell, what happened? So, a couple hours earlier, before he turned down that dirt road, there was 4 people stopping cars, killing them, and pushing their cars into a ditch. They were high on meth, and they thought the cars were dragons. And they already killed 2 people. If he did not get the warning sign from his grandma, say to just go get a Coke, if he didn't listen to his grandma, he would have turned down that road. He would have stopped, because they had put an orange cone in the road to stop people. And he would have got shot in the side of the head, because that's how they were doing it. They was coming up to the driver's side, and they were dressed like maintenance workers. They was coming to the passenger side and shooting people in the head. They already killed 2 people. He would have been the third one. Luckily, a cop was driving on the other side and saw the second person get shot. And the whole thing went down. 2 of the men was... one of the men were killed. The other 2 were arrested. Ricardo was like, so I was going to drive down here earlier, but I decided to go get a Coke and start talking to the person at the gas station. And the cops were like, well, that was a good thing, because they would have murdered you if you would have drove down this way. These guys were killing people. They were high on meth. They thought the cars were dragons, and it was killing people in the driver's seat, and then pushing the car into the ditch. So Ricardo was like, huh. So he goes the other way, makes it home, and he's sitting in his kitchen. And he's thinking, my grandma just saved my life. If I didn't go get a Coca-Cola, I would be dead. That voice of his grandma screaming at him to go get a Coke. Now, he's not a very supernatural person. He believes in God. He loves religion. He loves Jesus. But when it comes to supernatural, he doesn't like it that much because it's too spooky. So Ricardo, he goes upstairs. His wife wakes up. So, you're home early. He was like, you mean late? She's like, yeah. So Ricardo tells his wife everything. Everything. She said, you weren't meant to die because you have something to do. He was like, what do I have to do? And that's when Ricardo's wife tells him that she is pregnant. And that's what he has to do. He was like, so my grandma stopped me from dying so I can raise a baby. She was like, yes, because he has something to do. And if he would have died, the baby would have grew up without a father. And she will be, well, they're engaged, so they're not married yet. She'll technically be a widow. A pre-widow. What do you call someone who's engaged and who loses their husband? You still call them a widow? Or pre-widow? You know what? It doesn't matter. So, Ricardo lays next to his wife, and she puts her arms around him. And he just says, this was a weird night. Got off early. Almost died. My grandma told me to go get a Coca-Cola. And now I'm here. And then his wife said, you got a Coke? Where's my Coke? Oh, it's downstairs in the fridge. And that's it. That's the end of the story. Ricardo, his grandma told him to go get a Coke, and he listened. If he didn't, he'll be dead. Thank you for watching my video. I'm trying to be a better storyteller. And next time I tell a story, I'm going to have a Lego set. I was going to do the 346 days, whatever, of stories, but I decided not to. Instead, I'm going to do 30 days of April. 30 days of April. And in that 30 days, I'm going to tell stories about my mother. I'm going to tell you a story about my brother. I'm going to tell you stories about... And also, while I'm telling the stories, I'm going to be pitting together a Lego set. I'm going to buy a Lego set. I'm going to put it together so y'all can see me do something instead of just having a blank picture. Instead of just having a picture. I want y'all to actually watch something while I tell you a story. And yeah. That makes sense? Yeah, I want you to watch me build a Lego set while I tell you a story about everything. It's going to be 30 days of storytelling. It's going to start April 1st and end April 30th. Is it 30 days in April? Yeah. I was born in April. I should know this. That's about it. And yes, I'm still working on the unbelievable biography of Gary. Now, I'm probably not going to release it because he has a biography book coming out. And I don't want to, I have never met Gary. I just watch his videos. If y'all watch Neurotic, I watch Neurotic. I like him. He's awesome. Yeah, I know I have a series called, not a series, just one episode. The unbelievable biography of this person. I was going to do one about Gary, but I'm going to do about Hill versus Babyface first, and then I'll do Gary's. So, look for that. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my story. Ricardo didn't get killed. Thank God. And like and subscribe. I'll be back for more. Bye.